To understand Germany's current events on economic development, we will begin with its history, as development is a long-term occurrence caused by many preceding factors. To begin in the 1800s, the Industrial Revolution increased production of railways, coal, and heavy metals, which stimulated innovation, and Germany benefited from its central position in Europe. Later came the unification of Germany in 1871 under Prussian leadership, creating a powerful nation-state. The economy was based on protectionism, with high tariffs and cartels that ensured its competitiveness. Yet, they also pursued a policy of colonial expansion, bringing it into conflict with other European powers. The two infamous world wars devastated Germany's economy, where they lost territories, markets, and had to pay heavy reparations to the Allies, and they eventually divided into East and West Germany, portrayed by this drop in GDP per capita. West Germany recovered with the help of the Marshall Plan, a US-sponsored economic aid program, and ran under a market economy with social welfare and labor rights, leading to rapid economic growth. East Germany followed the Soviet Union under a planned economy based on heavy industry, agriculture, and nationalization, which resulted in a stagnating economy. Later, the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 led to reunification, but the economic gap between the two regions persisted for many years, requiring massive trade of funds from west to east, evidenced by this graph on each of their growth rates. Contemporary Germany is now a leading power with strong, diversified economy that exports high-quality goods and services. They have also benefited from being part of the EU and Eurozone, but has also suffered from some instances of crisis, like the housing bubble in 2008 and COVID-19. So this summarizes the brief history of Germany's economic development.
Current economic event in Germany. So the German GDP is shrinking by 0.6% this year. A new forecast expects the overall German economic output to contract this year, mainly due to a slower than expected recovery in the industry and private consumption. Germany is struggling to get back to the role of the economic engine of Europe, according to 5 economic institutes who provide their common forecast twice a year. The country's GDP is expected to decline by 0.6% in 2023, as rising interest rates take their toll on the economy and high inflation depresses consumption. Germany has been in a downturn for more than a year, mainly due to the sharp rise in energy prices in 2022. The loss of cheap natural gas sources, such as Russia, put the country's energy-intensive industries in a difficult situation. Consumer price inflation has made things worse, rising to over 8%, leaving domestic consumption at a low level. Meanwhile, the high interest rates hit the construction industry very hard. The business sentiment is low, partially due to the heightened political uncertainty. Overall, the indicators suggest that production fell again, noticeably in the third quarter of 2023. However, wage increases have followed the price hikes, energy prices have fallen, and exporters have partially passed on their higher costs, meaning that purchasing power is returning, economists said. Therefore, the downturn is expected to subside by the end of the year. In the last quarter of the year, growth is forecast to pick up again, with a modest 0.2% expansion. For 2024, the Institute's forecast GDP growth of 1.3%, down from 1.5% previously. For 2025, a 1.5% GDP expansion is forecast.
Now I will talk about the advantages of economic development in Germany. Firstly, poverty in Germany will be reduced. A higher GDP implies the economy is producing more goods and services that consumers can enjoy, and this benefits the society, because higher level of consumption will help to reduce any incidence of absolute poverty. Especially after the First and Second World War, Germany faced a severe economic crisis. There is a large amount of unemployed workers, including returned servicemen, ex-soldiers, homeless people, and refugees, and more. Luckily, with America's loans and help from other European countries, Germany's economy recovered quickly, which saved those who were temporarily displaced without homes and jobs. Secondly, I will talk about further growth. Firstly, increase in GDP equals to economic growth. With a higher GDP, the German government will be able to collect more income taxes. And as income rises, consumers will rather to spend more, which in all sums as government revenue. This is beneficial because the government can use this increased revenue to reduce the amount of needed to borrow and spend more on public services and infrastructures. Because after the Second World War, Germany had paid more than 74 billion euros in reparations. The economic growth in the later 20th century is really essential to achieve this. Overall, economic growth helped Germany to pay back their loans and reparations. Furthermore, it helped them to invest more on public services, which can improve the long-term performances of the economy in the future. Thirdly, I will talk about how it lowers the unemployment rate. Higher economic growth will also lead to increase in demand for labor, as firms will be producing more. Therefore, unemployment rate will fall. This can lead to less social problems, increase in workforce, and improve in living standards. The graph below shows the unemployment rate of Germany from 2010 to 2023. This proves that economic development through time has really reduced the unemployment rate in Germany. Lastly, I will introduce other advantages. The size of labor force will increase, because growth in the economy might attract foreigners to migrate in for the good living standards. Meanwhile, they will also consume domestic goods and work for the destination country. Also, there will be more investments opportunities, because economic growth attracts foreign investments, which turn out to be an injection into the economic circular flow of Germany. Those foreign investments can be used for innovation, increased production, and further job creation. Additionally, this can promote more international trades, which give a chance to increase net exports. Eventually, you can tell that both advantages can lead to a shift of PPC curve to the right, which means more economic growth, because it increases the quantity of factors of reductions.
Germany, a stalwart in the world economy, recently encountered a nuanced economic shift. According to the meticulous data curated by Germany's Federal Statistical Office, Der Status, the gross domestic product, GDP, contracted by a marginal 0.1% in the July to September period. This meager contraction follows a modest 0.1% growth in the preceding quarter. As astute economic minds, we recognize that even economic powerhouses face challenges. Allow us to navigate through the intricacies of events that posed formidable hurdles to Germany's financial landscape. Within the labyrinth of economic intricacies, a discernible decline in consumer spending emerges as the primary catalyst behind the GDP contraction. This decline compounds the economic challenges that Germany has navigated for almost a year. To underscore this, consider the data from 2022. GDP not only contracted in the final quarter, but also stagnated in the initial quarter of the subsequent year, as corroborated by revised data from Der Status. Venturing deeper into the economic tapestry, we unveil the multifaceted challenges confronting Germany's expansive manufacturing sector. Factors such as weakened demand from China, soaring energy costs, and the reverberations of arduous interest rate hikes contribute to the complex economic milieu. Although noteworthy, investments in machinery and equipment by corporations provide a positive counterpoint, yet the overarching economic landscape remains riddled with challenges. As we distill insights from Germany's economic narrative, the resilience demonstrated during the global financial crisis underscores the vitality of economic diversification. Casting our gaze forward, Germany's forward-thinking investment in green technologies signals a commitment to sustainability and innovation. However, caution is warranted. Esteemed economists, including Klaus Vestisen from Pantheon Macroeconomics, caution that Germany's economic engine is ensnared in economic quagmire, dampening hopes for a swift recovery in the fourth quarter. The pendulum of risk swings ominously towards the downside as we contemplate the dawn of 2024.